Welcome to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols, joined by a couple of NBA champs who do know apparently how to find a seat. Matt Barnes sitting next to me. That seat looks lovely on you, Matt.
Fall.
And the fabulous Kendrick Perkins joining us from afar, but not for long. Kendrick's going to be back in the studio soon, so look for that. We're also going to talk about not just Kendrick's return, but the return of James Harden a little later in the show. First, though, the NBA's new play-in format has been the subject of much discussion over the past few months. Draymond Green scoffed at it. Luka Doncic questioned how fair it is. Mark Cuban, who voted for the play-in as a member of the Board of Governors, called it an enormous mistake. And then there was LeBron, whose take was that, quote, whoever came up with that stuff needs to be fired. Hey, change, as we know, can be hard. And I'm going to say it's probably not a coincidence. All those comments came right when the Warriors and Mavericks and Lakers were all falling into the play-in range of the standings themselves. Still, there was one thing that Cuban said to our Tim McMahon that really stuck with me. Cuban complained that, quote, rather than being able to rest players as the standings become clearer, teams have to approach every game as a playoff game to either get into or stay into the top six. Yes, Mark, they do. And as we have seen over the past couple days, that is the feature, not the bug. Teams like the Wizards, who in the old format would have been tanking by now, are instead scrapping, meaning we're getting fireworks nightly from Russell Westbrook and, when he's healthy, Bradley Beal. Meanwhile, teams who in the past would have been content to just amble around the bottom half of the bracket are now desperate to get out of those 7 or 8 spots. Take the Heat, who after sitting at 7 just 6 days ago, have gone on such a tear, they're now at the 5 seed. And that in turn has pushed the Hawks and Knicks, who are in a tiebreaker with them, down to the play-in border, which meant last night we got a bruiser of a game between the Knicks and Lakers. Now, to Mark Cuban's point, in the past, this could easily have been part of the NBA's end of regular season Restorama festival that they like to hold. But instead, it was an all-out war, with both teams defending so hard that honestly, when I flipped to this game last night, the score felt so 90s throwback, I had to check it against the clock twice. Julius Randle was showing out against the team that let him walk 3 years ago. Then in overtime, we got Talen Horton-Tucker coughing up the ball twice, only to then hit the go-ahead three-pointer with 21 seconds on the clock. Oh, and did you notice Anthony Davis taunting Spike Lee? Oh, I'm so sorry, good sir. I can't hear you over the sweet sound of victory. AD tweaked his groin in this game. More on that later. But the win helped keep alive LA's hopes of making it out of the play-in, which is important, since if they don't, they will likely have to face off against the Warriors just to get into the main draw. And the Warriors are a problem right now. 2 nights ago, they knocked off an undermanned but still top-seeded Utah squad. Then last night, it was a nail-biting win against Phoenix. Steph had an uncharacteristically bad shooting night, going just 1 for 11 from 3. Although I'm not sure how you're supposed to even get a shot off when this is how the other team is defending you. I mean, there are 4 guys there on him. Still, the Warriors got it done, looking so scrappy. They brought comparisons to Golden State's 2007 We Believe team, a notion that Draymond then immediately shot down.
You know, no disrespect to them at all, because what they did was incredible. But no, we're not no We Believe 2.0. Got
back it on.
Yeah, the Warriors have bleeping Steph Curry, which last night aside is what makes them so dangerous in this new format that has transformed the final leg of the regular season. So should the guy in the league office who championed the play-in tournament really be fired? As far as I'm concerned, he deserves a raise. Shout out to Evan, by the way, who is who we were talking about. Okay, Matt, so you are one of the most qualified people in the world to answer this question, despite what Draymond may have said. Does this current Warriors team remind you of your We Believe Warriors team?
Absolutely not.
Okay, he is right.
This team is coming off a dynasty, 3 championships. I think what made that We Believe team so special, because if you look at it, it was about 3 months. We won 1 series, we lost in the second round. What made that team so special is the bond we developed off the court, how everyone ended up in Golden State, the bonds our moms had before my mom died. So we were just a team that was different, but all you're seeing right now at Golden State is what you're supposed to see is they're getting hot at the right time. So I completely agree with Draymond. We're not offended by it. He's right. Yep.
What do you think, Perk?
Well, look. I I actually like it. And I'm not talking about the overall dynasty, man. I'm talking about same position, right? The same position. Y'all were 8 seed that went up against the #1 seed and beat Dallas that year, right? This is the same position. The Golden State Warriors are probably going to be the 8 seed, and they're going to go against the top seed. And so I see it because no one believed in them, and I get it. They have Steph Curry, one of the greatest shooters of all time, one of the greatest players of all time. But you're right, they were different. Y'all had Baron Davis, who's, by the way, one of the most underrated PGs of all time to ever play the game of basketball. And when I look at the personnel, yes, y'all had dogs, right? Y'all had killers. Y'all had guys that would get up into your airspace, get up into your face, that wanted all the smoke. They have guys that could play. They don't want all the smoke, but they go out there and get the job done. And when I look at a guy like Andrew Wiggins, he reminds me a lot of Steven Jackson right now, the way that he's playing. He's playing both ends of the floor. He's contributing offensively at a high rate, efficient rate, and he's bought into the culture. I'm not saying that they are y'all personality-wise.
They are
but
not.
I'm saying the same position, and I love the direction. I kind of love the comparison, not the dynasty overall, just this year.
Well, let me take that the next step, Perk. And by the way, I'm going to just let the Wiggins Jack thing float because, yeah, that's better not to get into on television. But I will say this. If you look at them being potentially the 8th seed against a #1 seed, which is Utah right now, the Jazz just announced that Donovan Mitchell will not be playing the rest of the regular season. He is going to debut back from that injury in the first round, so he will be just getting his legs back under him. Matt, what would you say right now if you had to pick a Utah Warriors first-round series?
I would love to see the Warriors win, and I think they have a great chance, especially if their leading scorer, someone who leads them on both sides of the floor, and Donovan Mitchell is either struggling. Everyone knows an ankle, you can't just turn it on with an ankle. If it's not feeling good, it's going to be tough, and to have to chase a Steph around and play it out of so many pick and rolls, that can really hinder this team. So I said this earlier, and I say this with all due respect to Utah and Phoenix. I wouldn't be surprised if a 7-2 or a 1-8 upset happened in the first round of the playoffs this year.
Who you pick, Perk?
Well, first, Rachel, let me go back to your point real quick. I would never disrespect my big brother stacking.
No.
Let me clear that up.
Okay, you got that part right. They two different people.
They're pretty different.
But I will say this. I want you and Matt to go back into the bubble with me last year, right? And you remember what Jamal Murray did to the Utah Jazz to get through that series? Are y'all telling me that Steph Curry can't do the same thing? He can.
Absolutely.
And then also, you're looking at 2 former Defensive Player of the Years going at it. Rudy Gobert and Draymond Green. Draymond Green is so awesome at anchoring the defense and calling out sets and putting guys in position to be successful. But you look at guys like Poole. You look like guys like Looney, who's been there before. And if the Utah Jazz are not healthy, Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley coming off an injury, hey,
anything
the Golden State Warriors got a fair shot.
Absolutely.
Well, look, Draymond Green said the other night he thinks he's Defensive Player of the Year. Rudy Gobert has said he thinks he's Defensive Player of the Year. I believe Jrue Holiday just told Yahoo he thinks he's Defensive Player of the Year. I know that we've heard Joel Embiid say that he thinks he's Defensive Player of the Year and MVP. The only one who I can never get to stump for himself, Nikola Jokic, is always so humble. He's like, I'll let other people talk about MVP. Other players, though, they have some thoughts about where they go, and Draymond's certainly one of them. All right, let's take a look at today's magic moment brought to you by Walt Disney World Resort. Anthony Davis battling through a groin issue to score 20 points, playing a tough 43 minutes in the Lakers' OT win over the Knicks. Now, after last night's game, AD spoke about his health and status for tonight's game against the Rockets. Take a listen to this.
I'm hurt. Not more so my body, just, my groin got tight. That was really it. I'm not sure where it came from. There's no way I was coming out the game. I mean, big game for us. A team was playing red hot. The situation that we're in, trying to battle for 6, and it was a huge game from us. And I didn't want to come out no matter injury and finish the game and make sure we secured the win. It's a very strong possibility that I fight through it and play since the next day is an off day, but also don't want to have this lagging and then now I'm out for a couple games. So I mean, we'll see how I feel.
All right, so Perk, listening to all that and knowing AD is currently questionable for tonight, what do you think the Lakers should do?
I think they should sit him. I mean, look, they're playing the Houston Rockets, and it's no disrespect to Coach Silas and Coach John Lucas, but they suck. They're not good. And even without Anthony Davis and LeBron James, this Lakers team should be able to beat them. So they rest Anthony Davis, LeBron James come back tonight, and they still win in good fashion, and then he move on to the next game. But how Anthony Davis played last night, the minutes, the impact on his body, the workload, I wouldn't play him because it could possibly have a chance of risking another injury. So I would sit.
Real quick before I give my point, Perk, congratulations on your extension to get in the bag. And you're talking like you got the bag
I was
right
going
now.
to say, we get Perk unfiltered today. I love it.
Hey, the way you're talking like you just got the bag. So congratulations, and I feel you. But absolutely, they need to rest AD. You know, you much rather have AD rest now. He already said he feels like he's back. His rhythm is back, which is most important. But you much rather rest him for rest than have to rest him to recover for an injury. So those groins are really tricky. He also got kneed in the quad late in that game, right above the knee. So AD's health is the most, outside of LeBron's health, just as important for them to make any run in the playoffs this year. So I would definitely rest him tonight and have him ready for the playoffs.
And the hope is that LeBron can play tonight, right? The goal for him was trying to get back into the lineup this evening. And look, the Lakers need every game they can get with a semblance of their full lineup, which, by the way, they wouldn't even have tonight either way. Dennis Schroeder, one of their starters, is still out. But just getting guys to understand what it's like to play with LeBron and AD together, since they've had new acquisitions and that chemistry is so important, you want him to play in a game tonight. But I do agree with both of you guys. It's not worth the risk of further injury. If he is out in the first round, I mean, I don't see how the Lakers advance past that with LeBron, who is still working his way back. No Anthony Davis. So I think you got to protect that at all costs. I think the Lakers have to realize that opposing teams are going to test both LeBron and AD when they're out there, try to make Anthony Davis change directions. Probably not a coincidence. Maybe he got a little knock in, what did you say, the calf area, right? That
No,
he got a quad?
I thought he got kneed above his knee.
In the,
that's why
right
he was
in the
limping
quad,
at one point.
right?
Yeah, in his quad, so.
I think they got to expect that all the time and take the precautions against it. We'll have to see what they decide later this evening. All right. You know what this music means? So many passing highlights across the association. Matt, just as you watch these roll, was it Magic Johnson tribute?
I guess
last
so.
Night?
I mean,
No
there was a lot of beautiful passes. Obviously, Magic was known for all you youngsters for making, the simple pass look easy, or excuse me, the difficult pass look easy. So it was great to see the ball movement, like it's always moving every night. But last night was a little special.
You know what's crazy is that with Rondo, he used to make those passes, and we used to tell him, man, you trying to look cute, and he was like, no, it's the right pass to make. I have to make this pass.
I would not have any other man walk up to Rajon Rondo and say, you look cute, just because even when he was young, he was old, right?
Doesn't look good.
He's no one's kitten. He's a big old junkyard dog. Cute is for 15-year-olds. Miss sitting. Nugs Hornets. Watch Campazzo pull the chair out from BJ Washington. Oops, sorry about that, dude. And then over to Detroit, where D'Angelo Russell.
What's in his water bottle? I'm wondering.
A literal no chair moment.
And what's in his water bottle?
Perk, where have all the chairs gone? I don't blame him. I would have thought that was like a bench or something.
I don't know, but look, Rachel, how you say his name again? Campazzo,
yes.
Right? He don't play like your ordinary rookie. He is before his time. He has been playing some exceptional basketball, but, that's just the luck of the draw. You right there, that's on the ball, boys, not having D-Lo them chairs in the right place.
But Campazzo's a super rookie, isn't he? Isn't he like 28 or 29, or he's a little older, isn't he?
He is an aging rookie. I will, D-Lo, sorry. All right, make opportunities, Nets, Bulls. Look at Mike James with the ankle breaker and the dish. Perk, you like this guy, right?
I love him. Look,
I thought so.
He went to Lamar University down there in Beaumont, Texas, where I was from. I got a chance to watch him in college, work out with him. And it was the reason he kept winning MVPs overseas, Rachel. He is something special.
Oh, they
he
definitely
does
got
this in his sleep.
Yeah, they definitely got to still being able to pick this guy up with all his experience, like Perk said, winning MVPs overseas. He's not new to this. He's not afraid of the moment, and he's definitely going to help these guys in the playoffs. And
look, they were able to get him because he got into some trouble with those teams. I believe it's only because, I might have some of the slight details wrong, but only because he was on a suspension from his EuroLeague team is why he was even available for Sean Marks. So I appreciate the fact that he has buckled down. Well, no, I mean, it's appreciate that he's taking this opportunity in the NBA and making the most of it. All right, Miss, look ahead. It's Chris Paul, Steph Curry have played each other 50 times in their careers. That's a crazy number. Steph holds the edge, 28-22. Of course, he's had some pretty good friends to bring with him to those battles. Matt, is this one of the more underrated matchups in the league?
Absolutely. I've been front row seats for these early battles when the Warriors are just becoming who they are as far as a dynasty, and Lob City was kind of there and then kind of faded out. But those guys used to battle every single night, and this is a very underestimated rival. They both dropped each other. They both talk trash back and forth. It's always a beautiful thing to watch. Two completely different types of players, but still two of the top 5 point guards in the history of the game.
I was wondering why I hadn't seen Steph on those State Farm insurance commercials.
Mandy, time to run it back to our favorite CP3 Steph moments. All-Star game just a few months ago. Exchanging some alley-oops.
Yeah, Steph got his easy. Chris looked like he struggled to get up there, though. Chris is a little older.
Well, you know.
Get up, CP.
There we go.
Yeah, you saw how you even had to look as it was coming down.
Look at Steph. I love how they're cheering for each other. It's so fun.
I think it's great. I mean, these guys have obviously been harsh competitors their whole career, but to get a chance to have fun together in the All-Star game. Like, I saw a lot of this. You saw me. I was trying to clap like it was going to help. Like, let me try to distract them.
Look at him. He's a vet. You know, CP3 will try anything.
Unbelievable.
All right, 2018 playoffs. Chris Paul with the snatch back.
Just left him seated.
All right, so misses the Jimmy, but gets the putback. Boom.
Now, this has definitely been battles. I mean, we're definitely going to miss this if we don't get to see this anymore.
He's like, no, I need to clean that up myself because that highlight must live.
Got to finish.
Still 2018. Chris beats the shot clock. Then he does the Steph shimmy on this. Take a look afterward.
That's a great D, by the way, too.
Great D.
Little, Look at Steph's face. That's phenomenal. 2015.
This was tough. I was
Steph going baseline, goes behind the back twice. Feathered that.
That was ugly. Their feet got tangled, but hey, he dropped them. That was scary.
CP3.
Remember the meme? That was kind of when memes were just started. Remember they had CP memeing all throughout the world doing his little hand on the ground.
Although the feet, I gotta say, the feet.
I seen it right then.
Right, you were right there.
Yeah.
But you know the thing that I love about it in all these clips is that they are guarding one another.
Going right back at it.
They're not running from the matchup. They're guarding one another, and there's something about the point guards in general around the league because you have this matchup. And then you have Russ and Dame Dollar who loves to go in it. So right now, the point guards are actually showing that tenacity, that dog in them.
The respect level. Yeah, for sure. And the respect level, too, between Steph and CP3. You saw it in those clips. Even at the most sort of big moments where the other guy is jamming something in their face, smile, laugh, got to show some respect. So I love that, too. All right, here's what the Jump recommends for today. Our own Mark packs his performance on the court. Can you share a little bit of that conversation?
Yeah, I asked him about all the three superstars going in the Hall of Fame, Duncan, Garnett, and Kobe, and he loved all three of them, but especially has been inspired by Kobe, his Mamba mentality, how hard he plays every game, and his will to win, as we saw from Jimmy, certainly in the bubble.
Yeah, I mean, look, Matt, you're someone who is so close with Kobe. Do you see any resemblance there?
Oh, definitely. I mean, Jimmy's someone who leaves it out there on the court every single night. That team goes as Jimmy goes. And Russell Westbrook is also someone who also comes into mind when you talk about that. And obviously, these are big shoes to fill. But, Russ is someone out there every single night, both ends of the floor, along with Jimmy. And I think some similarities that people might not think of is all three of those guys we're speaking of, even Kobe, were a little bit misunderstood. Superstars that people don't really understand. So sometimes instead of showing love, they show hate. So I definitely think there's a lot of similarities between those guys.
I agree. Russ falls under that category. So do Giannis. But when you talk about Jimmy, right, I think sometimes he get overlooked a lot of times. Even looking at this season, I know he only averaged 20 points a game, but he's giving out almost seven. He's giving out 7 rebounds, 7 assists. He leads the league in steals. He don't take possessions off. The Heat are below average, a below 500 team without Jimmy. They're 32-19 with Jimmy. He brings it every single possession. And see, when I think of guys with the Mamba mentality, I need to look at guys and watch guys that play every possession, not every minute, but every second. And Jimmy falls under that category.
Yeah, and look, I mean, there was a part of Kobe's personality, which was, I don't care if you don't like me. I'm not doing this to be Mr. Popularity. And I think that's something Jimmy has really embraced, too. Jimmy says it a lot. He says, I'm not for everyone. He said, this Heat team, we're not for everyone. But the people who appreciate the kind of stuff we do, those are the kind of people that we are playing for. And that, to me, is a very Kobe quality, you know, especially in that last sort of championship run section, the 2009-2010, sorry, Perk, 2009-2010 section of his career. All right. So I do also want to talk about Jimmy's team more. And, Perk, you got into it a little bit. They're coming off that finals run last season, but I'm not sure how many people would pick them in their brackets heading into this postseason. For you, when you're looking at the playoffs and maybe they end up in that 4 or 5 spot, that's what they're battling for right now. How scary are the Heat, in your opinion, in that bracket?
You know what? They are really scary, Rachel. And after watching them the last 2 games against the Celtics, they want all the smoke. And they're playing exceptional basketball. Tyler Hero is being the Tyler Hero from the bubble. Duncan Robinson is shooting the lights out. Trevor Ariza is finally finding his stride and his niche in the offense, and we all know what Bam and Jimmy is going to bring to the table. But the 2 unsung heroes that don't get enough credit on that team is Kendrick Nunn and Goran Dragic. And then you have a coach in Eric Spoelstra, who I strongly believe is the best coach in today's game when you talk about X's and O's and mixing it up on the defensive end. The Miami Heat are scary, and you know what I call them. Them goons from Dade County.
I think for some of the younger players on that Heat team, there was a final hangover. So for some of the younger players, first-time experience, they got all kinds of fame, and I'm sure the summer was a lot different. And I think it took a little while for that to wear off on the younger players. Jimmy was in and out with injury, COVID. But we've always said, this team goes as Jimmy goes. I think Trevor Ariza was a huge, huge pickup. He's been playing great basketball. And as Perk pointed out, they're 2 guards that kind of go unsung. You still got Andre Iguodala over there. They showed you what happens when you get hot at the right time last year. They made a run to the finals. So this team is definitely getting their footing at the right time, playing their best basketball. Bam is definitely in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year, and if he doesn't get in that conversation, he's definitely going to win some before his career is over. So this team has all the pieces, and as we know, you get hot at the right time, you can make a run. So be on the lookout for the Heat.
Yep.
Rachel, I think they're nightmare on South Beach scary. This is the same team, Rachel. We were in the bubble.
Yep.
They're the 5th seed now, right? They were the 5th seed in the bubble.
Yep.
They beat the Pacers, who were a higher seed, 4-0 in the first round. They beat the Bucks, who a lot of people thought could win it, in the second round, 4-1. Then they end up beating the Celtics, and next thing you know, they're in the finals. And if it wasn't for some injuries, I mean, who knows what happened? But they pushed it to 6 games.
Right.
So I mean, this is a team, man, that is really. I don't want to use the word war mentality, but they together. They're ready to fight. And the only thing that's different is they're not in the bubble eating chunky soup like Udonis Haslem had them doing. And that, I think the bubble brought them together, made them unify where other teams like the Clippers fell apart. So maybe they should go to the dorms at, Florida International or something, stay in the dorms and eat the dorm food so they can get that Jimmy Butler nastiness again.
I don't know. Plus, I don't know if Udonis Haslem's Amazon habit can stand another run in the bubble. I know that he spent tens of thousands of dollars trying to bring some of the creature comforts of home to that bubble for him. So he and his wallet might want to stay out of a bubble again. I am really happy that you guys brought up Kendrick Nunn as well. If you remember, he didn't have the best bubble, and there were people who were kind of surprised by that after some of the stuff he had done earlier in the season. He had COVID, and he felt effects from having COVID for a long time. And that is something, as we've seen with Jason Tatum, with Evan Fournier, don't Google, that this can last for a while and can affect guys' play. So I'm excited for Kendrick Nunn to get a better shot at a playoff run where he's feeling completely healthy. All right, guys, Mark's going to stay with us. Coming up, we're going to
Before you go, let's talk about it. Go ahead, throw your bid out there for Defensive Player of the Year. Why should you, Bam, get Defensive Player of the Year?
I do everything on defense, and I'm going to walk out on that one.
Bam throwing his hat into the ring for DPOY. Perk, do you buy him as a finalist? Top 3?
I do buy him as a finalist, but I think Ben Simmons should win Defensive Player of the Year this year. That's my pick.
I completely agree. He's kind of built in that Draymond Green kind of undersized big man that can guard everybody on the court. So even I don't think he'll win it this year, but he'll definitely have a few under his belt before he's done.
I think Bam is the most versatile defender in the league, especially for a big man. But Rudy Gobert is having statistically perhaps the greatest defensive season in NBA history, flirting with Draymond Green's 2015-16 season.
Only an NBA player could call another NBA player undersized as opposed to me. All right, update on James Harden in 2 minutes. Lock in.